In line with Jim Cummins, we use the term identity text to describe how students invest their identities in the production or performance of creative work inside the classroom. These texts can be written, visual, spoken, musical, dramatic, or a combination of these multimodal forms. According to Cummins, identity texts hold a mirror up to students and give them the opportunity to see their identities reflected back to them in a positive way. When students are given the chance to share their identity text with an audience, such as classmates, teachers, family, or the media, they can construct and affirm their sense of self with these audiences. Through Not Essential, technology can facilitate the production of identity texts and can expand the audience and thus expand the potential for affirmative feedback. By creating an identity text through technology, students can generate new spaces to celebrate difference, express their thoughts and identities, and ultimately to be known and understood on their own terms. So far, how has the lack of representation affected you, and how have you used technology to bridge this divide?
The lack of representation has affected me, I would say, throughout my entire life. I think it's still affecting me. I note it more in the work I do when I was in elementary and high school. So that was when I was subjected to narratives in mainstream media, whether it be shows like Lizzie McGuire, Degrassi, or CNN and news outlets and the sort. So I would often see people who would look nothing like me, but would relate to them in other senses, for example, like personality traits, or them being goofy and being funny. So what I saw was that I did not know exactly how I fit into the world, because although I could relate to them with personality traits or in terms of the way I carried myself or spoke, I never saw someone who looked like me physically, in a sense. So I think what it does is that it really creates this loneliness, and it creates this bubble around you almost, where you don't really know how to connect with the world. That also happened within my curriculum as well. So we learn about history, and it would always be the same kind of things: Roman history, ancient Greek history, Egyptian history, and they're repainted like with tan skin and that kind of sort. And the fact that we never explored African history or Black diasporic history really was, now at least looking back, had an effect on me, I think. You asked about how I use technology in the work that I do to bridge that divide. So it was in 2012 when Kaif and I first started our media production company, and the reason why we started it was because we had that conversation that we had many nights before about the lack of representation. So we would Google Somali YouTubers and find absolutely nothing besides the usual narrative of politics, pirates, and poetry. So we put it on ourselves to create these identity texts. And once we did it, the response was so amazing. It was so huge. We had about 100,000 views within a week. So clearly there was a need for that. So I think while producing identity texts and having people who look like us finally getting to connect to us fully and immersing themselves in the work we're doing, because we get to fulfill the physical and the visual aspect of their identity markers. So I would say the work that we do in terms of creating our own media pieces on YouTube and platforms as such are used as tools to bridge that divide.
What have you noticed are the benefits so far of like being able to produce your own media?
I think it's the biggest benefit would be empowerment. I feel empowered by making these pieces. I feel that I'm able to use my voice, and I'm able to speak on my experiences, and through that I get to see people who connect to it, even if they're not Somali Canadian female media makers like I am, or they're not, for example, I'm not a visibly Muslim woman, right? Because I don't wear the veil. But at the same time, there's people who are none of those markers who still find some kind of question with it. So I think the benefits of that are that people who, like marginalized people who never got to see themselves on TV or in traditional media sources, can connect, but at the same time it also humanizes like the Somali Canadian woman person, which I really do appreciate.